Towson, Maryland lay under a gauzy veil of gray as Conrad Jenkins sat in the beleaguered armchair, poring over his notes. His features, weathered as old leather, betrayed stories of lost sleep and longer nights. He was a ship, ceaselessly adrift in an ocean of ink and paper. The forgotten corners of his modest abode were his ports, destinations marking the perimeter of his ceaseless quest for truth. A transistor radio crackled in the background, the quiet voices carrying tales of conspiracies as familiar to him as his heartbeat. Its static hum was his homing beacon, a lighthouse guiding his thoughts back from the tempestuous seas of his mind. He heard a knock on the door, a hesitant rap like the fluttering heartbeat of a nervous bird. On the other side was a woman of worn years and tired eyes. Her name was Marianne, a humble seamstress, her world now untethered by the sudden, inexplicable disappearance of her husband's identity. "It's not just the bank accounts, Mr. Jenkins," she confided, her words spilling like coins, each a plea for help. It's as if he never existed." He nodded, understanding in his eyes. His room was a kaleidoscope of similar stories, everyday people ensnared in an unfathomable web. But Marianne's story had a new thread, the junkyard at the town's edge. "A junkyard, you say?" His voice, a baritone laced with the grit of persistence, filled the room. "That's an unusual place for our specter to wander." Marianne nodded. "Aye, and nobody's got any reason to go there. It's just rusted heaps and weathered souls." "But you think there's more?" he inquired, eyes gleaming with the thrill of a new mystery. "I can't say, but something's not right, Mr. Jenkins." He offered Marianne a reassuring smile. In his gaze, she found a harbor in the storm. His generosity wasn't of the wallet, but of the heart, offering comfort to those lost in confusion. After Marianne departed, he sat in solitude, contemplating the conundrum at hand. The radio filled the silence, spewing tales of aliens, government cover-ups, and shadow societies. Through the swirling fog of his own mental battles, these threads of absurdity wove a comforting tapestry. To Conrad, this world of hidden truths was as tangible as the worn-out keys of his typewriter. As the sun descended, casting long shadows that danced with the flickering neon lights of his vintage lamp, Conrad stood, his tall silhouette framed against the solitary window. He looked at the silhouette of the distant junkyard, a rust-colored blight on Towson's outskirts. His eyes, like two lighthouses in the encroaching dark, were locked onto this new mystery. The specter of the unknown beckoned him once again, and this time, it was hidden among the towers of forgotten metal. As the first whispers of the evening wind began to echo through the quiet town, a new spark kindled in his eyes. A tale was unraveling, and he knew he would trace its threads to their end. The morning arrived in Towson like a watercolor painting, the sky softly daubed in hues of rose and apricot. Conrad stood at the precipice of the junkyard, an orchestra of rusty metal and decaying relics, standing sentinel under the graying sky. It was as if the detritus of civilization had been gathered in one place, left to mourn its own obsolescence. Entering the heart of the junkyard was like stepping into the fossilized remains of a forgotten titan, its innards a cacophony of discarded memories. The air was heavy with the metallic tang of rust and the ghostly scent of long-forgotten motor oil. His eyes, shards of frosted glass in the pale light, roamed over the derelict landscape. As he treaded deeper into the sprawl, the scrap heaps towered above him, their grim shadows stretching over the dirt pathways. He observed a peculiar symmetry in the chaos. Piles of automotive detritus, mountains of metal refuse, and tangles of wires were strewn about in what appeared to be an uncanny, ordered disarray, mocking the random serendipity of nature. His portable radio crackled, strapped to his belt. A strange frequency weaved itself into the static, a spectral hum that seemed to resonate with the eerie harmony of the junkyard. It was a sound that defied categorization, foreign yet familiar, like a lullaby heard in a dream. "It's alive," Conrad whispered to himself. His hands, toughened by years of hard stories and harder truths, traced the cold metal, feeling the pulse of the anomaly underneath. His investigation led him to the heart of the junkyard, where a decrepit crane stood like a skeletal behemoth. At its base, he found a nexus of unusual activity. The odd frequency on his radio peaked here, reaching a frenetic pitch like the manic heartbeat of an unseen beast. "Mr. Jenkins," came a voice, its timbre coarse with age. The junkyard's caretaker, a man named Clarence, stood at the periphery, a silhouette stitched into the fabric of the junkyard itself. "You shouldn't be here." "But why, Clarence?" he asked, the brave twinkle in his eyes hinting at a persistent spirit. "The old girl's got secrets, Mr. Jenkins," Clarence replied, casting a wary glance toward the crane. "Some things best left alone." But Conrad was not a man to be deterred by shadows. His life, a ceaseless dance with the specters of conspiracy and his own mind's phantoms, had chiseled a resolve in him that few could match. Clarence's warning was a puzzle piece, a thread that would lead him further into this entangled mystery. As he walked back home, the twilight bathing Towson in an eerie glow, he felt the spectral presence of the junkyard lingering with him, like an uncanny echo. The static whisper of his radio carried the junkyard's hum, a dirge that whispered of dark secrets and hidden truths, waiting to be unearthed. It was a song only he could hear, a requiem for rust that promised an uncanny dance with the unknown. Towson was swallowed in a cerulean twilight, its every nook and cranny bathed in an otherworldly glow. Inside his office, Conrad stood as a solitary figure, wrapped in a cocoon of spectral shadows and revelations. The peculiar frequency that had danced on his radio earlier now murmured through his speakers, a bizarre cadence that clawed at the boundaries of reality. Through the murky waters of his schizophrenia, he found himself uniquely attuned to this strange harmony. It was as if the frequency was speaking to him, whispering tales of an existence beyond the confines of human understanding. On a hunch, he began to correlate the frequency patterns with his own observations of the junkyard's uncanny arrangement. Like a celestial cartographer charting unfamiliar stars, he traced the constellations of metal and rust, their mathematical alignment reflecting an intricate cosmic design. His fingers flew over the typewriter, imprinting the discovery onto paper, in an echo of the strange reality he was unearthing. The discovery was terrifying, yet strangely comforting. A perennial stranger in the land of sanity, he found solace in this universe of cosmic absurdity. His perception, forever dancing on the edge of the surreal, was his guiding compass in this maze of enigmatic signals and eerie geometries. As his understanding deepened, reality responded. The room's air seemed to shudder, and he felt a perceptible fracture, like a crack running down the face of existence. As if in response, his radio let out a low hum, the frequency morphing into an otherworldly siren song. It was as if an unseen door was opening, a gateway to the world that echoed in the frequency's strange harmony. And then he saw them. Visions, nightmarish yet fascinating, of a realm populated by bizarre, alien entities, beings that existed beyond the constraints of physicality, their consciousness woven into the very fabric of reality. It was a cosmic revelation, unveiling an existence that stretched beyond the human imagination's wildest dreams. He emerged from the visions with a start, his heart pounded like a wild drum, his eyes wide with the awe and terror of the cosmic truth he'd glimpsed. He felt a pull, a dreadful yearning towards the alien realm. It was calling him, the same way the darkness called to the lonely moth, luring him with the promise of enigmatic truths. Is this what's happening in the junkyard, Clarence? Conrad found himself whispering into the static-filled abyss of his room, the junkyard caretaker's warning echoing in his mind. A dance with cosmic shadows? He sat there surrounded by his typewriter's cold metallic echo and the relentless whisper of the radio, a spectral symphony resonating with the unfathomable mystery. The line between his world and the one he had witnessed was blurring, just as the line between his sanity and madness had done so many times before. As the night draped its dark mantle over Towson, he knew that the dawn would bring a new journey, a journey to the heart of the junkyard, to the heart of the cosmic mystery. The fracture in reality was widening, and he was being called to step through, to dance with the abyss. The dawn dawned over Towson like a hesitant promise, a frail light trying to dispel the shadows of an unending night. Conrad stood before the junkyard once more, the rusted hulks of forgotten vehicles looming like ancient monoliths in the paling light. Today he would step into the abyss. His investigation had revealed a chilling truth. The identity thefts weren't the work of mere criminals, but bait, lures to draw unsuspecting victims into the cosmic gateway that lurked within the junkyard's heart. Every stolen identity, a sacrificial lamb offered to the entities in the unseen realm. As he ventured deeper into the labyrinth of rust and relics, the eerie frequency hummed louder in his ears, a cosmic siren song drawing him towards the inevitable. He reached the heart of the junkyard, where the old crane, a skeletal harbinger, marked the gateway's location. "Are you ready, Mr. Jenkins?" It was Clarence, his figure appearing as if sewn from the fabric of the junkyard itself. Conrad nodded, his lips curved into a grim smile. "As ready as one can be to dance with the abyss." "Brave words, maybe bravery is what's needed," Clarence replied, his voice carrying a note of grudging respect. With his heart pounding a frantic rhythm, Conrad began to manipulate the radio device. The eerie frequency surged and reality trembled, like a canvas struck by an unseen hand. And then it appeared, a rip in the air, a swirling vortex of psychedelic colors and screaming static, a doorway into the unseen realm. With one last glance at Clarence, he stepped into the portal. His mind was a storm, the madness of his schizophrenia warring with the terror of the unknown. But his spirit, shaped by a lifetime of seeking hidden truth, remained undeterred. As he crossed the threshold, he was engulfed by a maelstrom of cosmic energies. Images swirled around him, realities beyond comprehension. He saw the entities, their forms a baffling tapestry of alien thoughts and unending consciousness. But instead of devouring him, they observed him, their alien minds resonating with his own. The connection was clear. Conrad's unique mind, shaped by its dance with schizophrenia, could comprehend the cosmic entities and coexist within their realm. His fear melted away, replaced with a strange sense of belonging. His existence, a solitaire game played on the fringes of sanity, finally found its place in the cosmic order. The entities accepted him, welcomed him. He felt an immense relief, a joy he'd never known. His sacrifice had saved his town, his world from further sacrifices. The peace that he'd never known in life finally embraced him in this alien existence. His final act as a mortal was to send a final message, a warning and testament back through the portal. It was received by Clarence, who listened with a grim understanding. As the portal sealed, he turned away, the strange harmony of the frequency fading into a soft hum. In the heart of the junkyard, under the slowly brightening sky of Towson, his radio crackled one last time, a whisper in the static fading into silence. And far beyond the constraints of mortal reality, he danced with the abyss, his spirit becoming a part of the cosmic symphony, forever woven into the fabric of the unknown. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.